So we're going.
We're going.
Yeah,
Hi.
We're going to talk about opera and Corona.
Thanks,
So,
guys.
what do you think about Verdi's influence on the canon of blah, 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 blah? Who cares?
Well, I don't know, but I heard Mendelssohn's influence today.
Yeah, I love a little
Puccini,
Mendelssohn.
thanks you guys for such a great concert. It was so clever and very moving.
Thanks.
I think this whole strange, unprecedented time in which we live has caused us to think about the people we love and the people that have left us and stuff like that. And that's not anything that I was anticipating happening, but you guys brought it to the fore today with your concert. It was really, really very moving and touching. So,
Thanks.
thank you.
Well, to be able to do a concert like that and that as your venue, in
Right.
between the Teller House and the Opera House, and it's just beautiful.
It's pretty much indicative of what that is. isn't it?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I mean,
Right.
like to be able to come back here and at a place that's had so much. We've had so many good memories here.
yeah.
And with Pete and Vito and
Oh, yeah.
all the hijinks that they would get into and get to play with everybody and meet everybody and the way everybody took those guys in.
Well, I remember them being right here on this porch,
Yeah.
which is at the Penrose Complex.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is where
Many,
we are sitting now.
many an evening have been spent here.
Melinda's porch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with meals and
Yeah, she would always cook in the kitchen here.
yes,
That's right.
And everybody, I probably did a brisket up here at some point.
probably.
Sure did.
Yeah.
You've done a brisket pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, and I remember the infamous Midsummer Night's Dream year when there was a wading pool back here in the lawn that I'm taking care of now. You can see how beautifully it's groomed. Looks like a golf course. Not really.
In Arkansas.
Yeah.
I like the yellow flowers.
Yeah. I planted those. No, not really.
Letting the native species take over.
That's
That's
right.
right.
That's right. But that's what we're doing up here this summer. Is like I'm doing yard work, and I mean we both are. He's mowing. I'm doing the weed whacker.
But I
And-
water all the plants at 6:30 every morning. I get up and water. It
All the
takes an hour,
flowers, the geraniums.
hour and a half.
And he takes it
beautiful.
very
Thank you.
seriously.
Yes.
He,
It really
yeah,
is.
I
You
think
gotta
that-
take water
It's
seriously
hard
up here.
work. I mean, you
Yeah.
really
You listen to
appreciate what the
everything's there.
interns do. Our interns that we have every summer, the ushers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 2 or 3 of them are like the gardening folks, and they have to get up and do that every day. And I've been doing it since June 10th was planting day. The guild came up. They decided to have planting day anyway, even though there was going to be no season technically, because you have to order the flowers for it in January
Oh.
every year. So the guild came up en masse, as well as the staff, planted, did all the stuff they normally do, and then who's going to take care of it?
Yep.
Johnny. So
He slept in yesterday until 6:30, and I was worried because I'm like, "Why are you not
Why are you
down?
not
Why are
up?
you not?
Get up."
Why are you not out watering the plants? Even on rainy days, he's out watering the plants."
But
5,
yeah,
6, 7
right?
in the morning every morning since this thing started.
Yeah.
Is that like a thing happening? Like, is it a natural body clock resetting since you're not having to be up like super late and then try to power
Yeah, we
yourself
go to bed
down after
early
a
up here,
performance?
too.
Yes. Oh, that's too
We're
all
in
the
bed
time.
like 9
Morning people.
or 10 o'clock at night.
when you have a performance that goes to 11, that's just the way the schedule is.
Yeah.
You can't help it. But when you don't,
Yeah.
it resets just like you said. Your whole clock is different.
I kind of
And
like
so
it.
we're all sitting up there. We have some great housemates up there, and we're going, "Oh, geez, it's about 8:30."
Whoa, boy!
Sure, it's been good to see you
Last
guys.
little pink
Everybody,
cloud
yeah.
just faded
That's
from the
right,
sky. I think
exactly.
it's my turn
I
now.
think I can let the dogs out, and then
Yeah.
But anyway, there was a concert last night too. Or kind of, it wasn't so much impromptu, but it was with some of our colleagues that you all know across the street where you all were today, and they were bound and determined that we were going to drink Manhattans afterwards. So I had macerated cherries all day in blackberry brandy. And then I went up a little bit after they got done and started on the Manhattans until they got all the stuff over with, the mingling and whatnot. And then we drank Manhattans. And we stayed up till
Midnight.
Party time.
But upstairs they stayed up till 2:30 in the morning.
that's time we can never get back.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So it's
Burn the midnight oil.
A midnight end time is really uncharacteristic
Yeah.
up here.
yeah.
One more thing that's changed.
Yes.
But then
who's
I had
all
to get
staying
up and water again, so that part didn't change.
But did you have to set an alarm, or was your
No.
body like,
No,
sorry, Joe?
Yeah.
Why
never
don't we-
used
again.
alarm.
I woke up at 5 this morning.
Sun's
Couldn't
out,
get back
John's
to
out.
sleep, so I'm like,
Yep.
all right, might as well get up. Yeah.
Who else? So you guys aren't up here by yourselves.
No.
So who else is up
So
here?
Emily Pulley, Jonathan Hayes,
And now Emily's brother
Paul
is here.
Brian is mentoring this high school kid named Cameron, who's been coming up, learning how to play the viola, learning how to cook. He also works on the houses with us as a volunteer.
You should make a
We've
little
been
mini Brian.
painting. We've
Yeah.
painted many of the
Mini
houses.
me, yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, see, because he was looking for something to do this summer, and he's a very good violist, and so we were looking at different like summer festivals or camps or something for him to go to. Well, of course, that all went down the drain, and so I had this idea in, I guess, early May. So I passed it by, the Central City Opera folks, including Eric, who we're all working for this summer for historic properties, and then and passed it by John. I'm like, so what do you think about this? He just turned 17, but Cameron, the 16-year-old, coming up, and so I give him a lesson every day, and he helps paint and mow lawns and do all that, and it was just going to be for a week. Well, he's been coming up pretty much every week for at least part of
my
it.
gosh.
His mom has missed him, so he comes up here now for half of every week. But then we do he's down in the Teller house right now practicing. He was practicing all morning. I went looking for him. I had to run to Arvada this morning and got back and went looking for him, and he was up there practicing, and he's used to just hanging out with us.
Yeah.
And we're a little
He's a
busy
good
this
kid.
afternoon. So
Well, and I didn't know him like you know him.
right.
And so I said, yeah, sure, But then when he showed up on the first day to move in
Yeah.
with a pie, because he's a baker, I was like, child, you can stay
You're
as long
gonna
as
be
you're asking.
fine.
We brought a beautiful
That's so
apple pie.
sweet.
Yeah,
He is sweet. He's baked a lot of
That's
pies.
so sweet.
Yesterday, I picked him up. I had to run home. I picked him up. Was that just yesterday? Time. It's everything is a
Time
time
means
warp
anything anymore.
these days. So I brought him up here, and he had like these grocery bags filled with stuff. I'm like, what are you bringing up now? Because if he comes up for 3 days, he has more luggage than I would ever come up for a week
Plus
or
he
2
has
weeks.
hair.
Amazing.
Yeah. So he has,
Oh, amazing!
he has
Yeah.
beautiful hair.
Ah.
But and his viola. and all.
beautiful hair.
But no, he came up. He came up. Was that just yesterday?
Yes.
I don't remember. Whenever. And made 2 pies. He made a pumpkin pie and an apple pie.
Wow.
And that.
And they're gone. Just
Yeah,
so
and they're
you know.
gone. Yeah, sorry.
He doesn't want to learn how to
That's okay.
sing, does he?
Yeah, no. I've heard him sing, and we don't want him to learn.
No, but
He
the
plays
thing-
viola beautifully, but
It's kind of like how like old Italian teachers used to do things back in the day. Like, just come over, we'll have a lesson, I'll feed you.
Right,
Like,
and
hang
that's
out
what-
at the house.
yeah.
Like this kid's getting like the actual real experience that all of us, I don't know,
Right.
kind of wish we could have had. I
Right.
think it's
Yeah,
really
there's
sweet.
that lack of compartmentalizing things. It's like, this is just who we are and what we do versus I'm going to do this at this time and this at this time, and I'm a singer only during these hours, and
Yeah.
I'm a parent these hours, and
Yeah.
it's been a great way to kind of survive this whole thing with any sanity, semblance of sanity.
Yeah.
And so like I'm back to Cameron. I've been also teaching him making sourdough bread. We've made sourdough bread. He makes beautiful baguettes now and bagels, and
Are
he
people
has
making bread right now? I hadn't heard.
I know. It's a new
Don't
thing.
you feel like you're like, hey, everybody?
There's no
I
bread
know.
in the
Yeah,
We're
you
trying to
have
chop
the
my
Johnny
steeds.
Appleseed of
yeah,
bread baking
yeah.
around here in Colorado.
Yeah, but that was also kind of my little saving grace when all of this first started, and I'm like, okay, I can't teach private lessons. I can't, I'm also a massage therapist. I can't do massages.
Oh my God.
I can't go into the schools where I teach at a school 2 days a
Can't play
week.
in anything.
I can't play in anything.
Oh my
I
gosh,
can't
yeah.
do what's going to happen up in Central City. I don't know. We made it official in the middle of May, I think, and everybody knew, but the official word came out in the middle of May. So as the personnel manager for the orchestra, we got to call all the orchestra people and just say, I'm sure you're not going to be surprised, but this is what's going on. And in the meantime, I'm like, well, wait, what am I going to do? And I was posting on Facebook because I was just baking a lot of bread, and I was posting that on Facebook.
I love this
people
part.
were like, can we buy bread from you?
I love
I'm
this
like,
part so much.
yeah, sure. So, and I have T-shirts. John was wearing it yesterday, and we should have worn them today. I had T-shirts made up of my new business logo, which is biker baker sourdough maker cook with cook bread deliveries. So
There's a bicycle on it.
so and
So
I bake bread like before coming up here, and being up here every day. I was baking. I'd get up every morning, bake bread from 6 in the morning until about 10:30, and then I'd get on my bike on my trusty steed. But get on my bike at 11, and one day I rode from Broomfield down to kind of South Lakewood to just delivering bread all in that day. And it was great. I love it. And it's so fun because, I'm getting up and baking, and so I deliver bread on my bicycle, so I get to ride. And then the evening comes, we have dinner, and then John's like, let me guess, you're making bread dough. I'm like, yeah, I'm making bread dough for the next day. So yeah, that's been, this has had, some positives that have,
Yeah, it is.
It's like, you don't want to say, wow, some real good has come out of it. No, I do want to say that. There has been some good that's come out of this. A change of pace.
It's so easy to just sit around and look. I understand the need to like express grief and mourn for what we've all lost.
Right.
We've lost lots.
Right.
And we'll be the last ones to get back to it.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. I mean, the people at the tip top of the echelons, they're still working.
Right.
They're out there doing whatever they can, and I don't begrudge them that. But the fact is, they're still getting paid.
That's right.
We're not here. It's not about number one. It ain't about the money at all. I miss it, but I miss the creation. I miss being able to work together and make things together.
That's why we do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things, Megan was, we got back from France. We got back from France right back to Colorado. And we've lived in Lyons for 5 years.
Yeah.
And we didn't know our neighbors at all.
Like we knew them enough to be like, hi Jen.
Could you check my
Hi Don.
Or Don Mercer.
Oh my God.
Jen, I keep
Kranick.
watching Kranick. I don't use her Facebook name, which is not correct. But and Callista, we have
Laurel.
McCain across the street. We never met these people. Really, we met them, or they would, your hose is on or whatever. That was it. But now we started seeing them every day, and when you didn't have the same kind of, going to work, making those friendships, seeing old friends, that was gone. So
Right.
we naturally gravitated towards our neighbors. Don's wife had passed away in February, and I know he was feeling lonely, and I just said, let's just go talk to Don one day. So Don would sit on his side of the yard, and we'd sit on our side,
Right.
and just start talking every day, every night, And it just
And
became
then
a
one
habit.
night we played him a song.
Well, this is what I'll tell you that. I mean, we didn't talk about this. What happened was,
Oh.
maybe we just walk out. Donald, I'd be sitting there talking. She'd just walk out. And she'd just set the guitar down because I hadn't been making any music. I didn't feel the desire to even make any music. I didn't know when I come home I wasn't picking the guitar up because I was trying to learn Wozzeck or something. Didn't have time. And
Meanwhile,
COVID
I was
put the
spending the
pause
moments
button
like
on.
buried in Bach sinfonias, like
Yeah,
in between Zoom meetings, like I am thinking fingers.
Aren't you tired of Zoom meetings?
Oh, God.
I no joke.
Tiny boxes with tiny heads. I can't.
Yeah, there's something triggering about that now.
But we were able to sort of like get together and make music and make community
Right.
by making music in our little tiny node
Yeah.
here in Lyons. And that's how we met Jason Hicks, who played with us down in the from the Blue.
And you
Blue
wouldn't have
Canyon
ever
Boys.
met him.
No, and
No.
it's one thing I always want to do when I find musicians. I'm like, let's do something together.
Yeah. Well, I worked at Alpha Colorado all fall, and I was like, I'm so excited to be home. Yeah. But then I spent like an hour and 15 to an hour and 45 each direction commuting, depending on what time of the day I was going in, and I don't want to be late, So yeah, so I wasn't really, when I'd get home, I was like, I'm tired. And like sometimes it would be like I drove through a blizzard to get home because
That's
Colorado
right.
dumps on you sometimes in October.
Yeah.
And so I like barely got to know anybody. I was, during that time even. So even when we were working at home, it's just crazy. But that's been like a really beautiful thing.
It's been the best gift I could ever imagine being given. And the thing was, we were running and traveling and going so hard. John, you know how bad we talked about it
Your
a lot.
feet.
My feet were messed up.
Right.
My knees were messed up. My hips, my back, my psoriasis is crazy. It's been that way for 6-7 years. And what I didn't realize was that I just never recovered because of the way we go.
Right.
I never recovered. My body was getting broken down. I'm sad for everything that's happened. I'm sad for the lost work, the lost income, lost lives. But it did give us all a chance to pause and stop.
Yeah.
And that's when we started doing this. It was like, we're still
Oh my
making
gosh.
music. We're still,
Exhale.
Right.
and this is personal. It's
Right.
not presentational.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, also it's like, my voice just exists naturally and I don't have to do anything to it.
My superpower's
Not to
been
be
taken
kind of
away.
silly, but
No.
oh my gosh, it's okay to not make the most perfect sound sometimes. Like,
Well,
I think
that's
the
that's
thing I noticed
preferred.
today. I felt like everything was coming from the heart and coming from somewhere really deep within.
Yeah,
And it wasn't
like-
the thing you were hired to do. It was the
Right.
thing that you did, that you
Yeah.
felt like doing.
But that's been a great realization of this time, is kind of speaking to that, is so much of what we all do in the arts is, we're all creating and we're all like, bringing what we have to the table, but it's dictated to us by what's being programmed by different companies that we're
Like
Like
even
a hired
hired
gun.
by. Yeah, you're kind of a hired gun. So it's,
Totally.
even if it is something that you're really into or whatever, there's like still certain parameters set around it and expectations. And one of the things that this time has really illuminated for me is that I wasn't fully, I was abdicating part of my role as an artist. I wasn't fully claiming like all the parts of myself. I was, not to knock any of the opportunities. I've had some really amazing opportunities and they've led to some really wonderful opportunities, but I haven't necessarily created some of the most high art in some of these experiences that I've had, and some of these larger big fancy prestigious experiences, and I'm 38 years old. I've lived the life of a 38-year-old woman. I have things that I want to say and I want to share with people and I want to collaborate with people about. And it's totally fun and interesting to play a child or a magical creature. But that's the easy choice now for me. And I've gone with that easy choice many times. And now we have to think about, do we get on a plane
Right.
to put ourselves and our families at risk for X amount of time to leave for a job? Is this experience really truly going to open the doors that I want to be opened?
Right.
I know that's maybe a little too much, but I haven't had a chance in my adult life to have a full stop and think about that and
Right.
kind of bat it around existentially, and there are more things that are sometimes more important than getting to make that debut on that major stage. At what cost now? And at what cost then too? I didn't realize the full ramification.
Well, as a soloist, all of our decisions, the executive aspect of every decision that's made about us is made by somebody else.
Right.
We rarely get, I'm pretty fortunate in I've been able to make a little bit more of those kind of decisions, and they have a little more creative control of some of the things I'm especially doing now. And everyone's like, hey, what do we do now? Digital.
Yeah.
But to be able to do something like we did today, that was just, we had the control over that. We just developed it. We didn't write it. Those songs are all somebody else's. Which is, of course, something we're familiar with as opera singers.
Yeah.
None of us write our own operas.
But we all have, obviously we connect with those things and those sentiments and the messages and...
But also just that to be able to enjoy on our own terms, the making of art and collaborating with other people to do it. Like your concert today, our concert yesterday, being able to get together with singers, having Cameron, my student play, and we rehearsed things a couple of times, ran through some things, but then last night when it came time to being there and me, viola under my chin, and I'm like, whoa, that was I didn't play it ever like that during the rehearsal, and this was so much better because it was just that feeling of collaboration and just like being together and creating something really fun and just letting go.
And how special the moment is, because we don't get to have them all the time, and we're not being expected to like go out and like do the dog and pony show. Not to say that it's always that way, but you know what I mean, like that feeling of like we're expected to produce all the time. Here's the schedule, the cell, so that when we've had this time away, and you've had this time to collaborate with your student and your friends in this way, that when you actually put something forth to people, it's like sharing in a more like a deeper, profound communion. Like that's what I felt today when we walked. I was just like overwhelmed by like this is the first time we've had a chance to do this. Like this is like so much more special than I realized that it was.
It valued so much more. I mean, I was during the last song, that Cape song.
Oh yeah.
I was just it hit me about 2/3 of the way through that. I don't know when I'm going to get to do this again. And it's not, hey, look at me, I'm performing. No, it's that feeling when you just get into the groove and you feel the audience with you and you're just together.
Yeah.
That communion.
Sure.
Man, I miss that.
Yeah.
And was so thankful to such a city for giving us this opportunity.
Yeah.
Well, we're
It's
very
all well and
thankful
good
to
to
you.
just sit out and play on the porch, but the more people you have out there, the more that empathetic group catharsis happens, and that's what I miss so much.
Yeah, the group catharsis part of that is big.
Oh my
major.
gosh, real, right?
Because I think sometimes the audience doesn't. I mean, showing up is 99% of it, and they showed up, but what they're getting out of it, I don't think they realize till later. What you guys are providing for them, as well as what they're providing for you by just showing up is
right.
That's the big thing, and I have to say, just for the record, that I'm a little envious of the three of you, because as an administrator and a conductor who doesn't really I don't sing anymore, I don't play piano, I have to sit and watch. So for me, my catharsis is in the morning looking at that begonia and saying, wow, you're doing better than you did yesterday. I had something to do with you.
We have to put a bookmark in that though, because that's very important.
Yeah.
No, it is very important, and
Continue.
I have a real difficulty, and I always have in my adult life, of being in the present, like enjoying this moment. And when you're out there watering flowers and there's no one else, and you have your noise canceling headphones on, and you just don't care about anything else, you have to live in the present because you're taking care of something else.
Yeah.
It's not you, and it's nothing that you're used to happening is going to happen, and you just have to paradigm shift a little bit into what it is you're doing, like adapt. It's totally adapt. At least I do. And what you guys are talking about is not, I can participate from the other end, that part of the catharsis, the audience part, but I can't do what you're doing, and I've had some interesting conversations with people about people like me who are conductors and administrators and stuff. We put things together, but we don't do the thing.
Yeah.
I've always known I didn't do the thing. I've always admired people that do the thing, and that's why I do it. But somebody said, remember the word conductor. It's coming through you,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I suddenly had, I don't know what it was, but it was kind of like figuring out what my value is in this whole scheme of things. And even if I don't get to do the exact thing that I normally do up here this year, I usually like to get through a performance. I never look back at it. I almost never think about it. You just go to the next one. It's kind of what you guys were talking about earlier. But I also, in doing that, I never give myself credit for what I've done. And I'm terrified to listen to it or watch it,
Oh.
like we all are. That's always the case. But
I've made a recording. You want me to send it to you?
no, I don't want
That's
On your
to
it's
see it.
iPhone?
gone.
You made a recording on
That
your
happened.
iPhone?
It's
No.
gone. It went into the air and went
Yeah,
away.
yeah,
Please stop
yeah.
trying to
But
catch
as
That's
soon
the
as
past.
you don't get to do it, like for
Yeah.
reasons that you have no control over at all, and you start thinking, what value do I have in this world, in this that I'm living in right now? And you have to come up with an answer for yourself.
Yeah.
You know, for
Yeah.
yourself. It's hard. You go through all the things. You're like, maybe I'm completely useless. You know, maybe no, we don't need me anymore.
The
And-
begonias do.
But go
The
but the
begonias.
begonias are waiting for me every morning. So
But there is something
No,
about
like-
going out. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's the bookmark, right?
That's
and
the
we came
bookmark,
back. Dude, growing things?
yeah,
Being
you've been
there
doing
to
it
help
for a
it.
long time. I know.
Well,
You're
yeah,
great at it.
but nonetheless, like, having something that you care for every day that depends on you to, like, pick off the dead leaves and, like,
Yes.
you know, train it around the right post and all those things, you know? And then to actually see it grow and to be
Yeah.
like, I can see that. Like, that's happening. Like, it's here. It's
It's a physical
a
manifestation.
physical
of your labor.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Instead
You
of, like,
see it.
as soon as the music
Living.
happens,
Mhm.
like if it's gone, you know, and that's like the beauty of it. But also, there's like kind of the frustration sometimes where it's like you can't see it, you know. It's like you can't,
Well,
you can't
and
record it. I mean, you can
we
record it, but it's
painted-
not the
Right,
same.
right.
We painted a lot of rooms. Like all of Upper Weckball is repainted. All of Parish House is repainted. I painted several rooms in Med Building. It's a lot of work. But you can see, again, it's a manifestation
Yeah.
of labor.
You can see how.
And you can see, and you're like, but no, it's not just that. It's like, okay, I'm painting this room because this is next on the list of things to be done, right? And there's a list. But when you're done with it, you're like, the person that's going to move in here will not know what this looked like before, but I know that they're getting a better experience. I know that sounds like the goofiest thing, but
No, man.
along with that satisfaction, you also, at least I have gotten the, I guess, satisfaction of just having an appreciation for what other people do that do this stuff all day long, and you don't even notice it.
Yeah.
You notice when they do it wrong or when it's not done, but you don't notice it otherwise, right?
You'll know what goes into that.
Yeah, you don't know
Yeah.
what goes into it. It's a lot of hours and time and thought, and I've gotten better at painting
Yeah.
because you can only get better.
Have you gotten past taping now? Or are you just
Yeah.
doing it freehand?
Well,
Oh,
a lot of it's more for I do far less taping than I did at the beginning. At the beginning, you're like, oh, I must tape this whole thing.
Do you have your favorite brushes?
I have my favorite brushes, and I know
Yep,
that you don't want to go to Home Depot and buy the cheap ass brushes.
No.
You want to buy the best brushes.
Yes.
Because then you have to do it twice or
it
3
clean.
times.
And then they don't leave the little like hairs behind.
That's exactly
Yeah.
right. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. So, yeah, an appreciation of what else goes on in a festival of this size, you know, as well as just the larger sense of the world, things that you pass by, drive by, walk by every day without giving a second thought. Now I look at those roses a second time, and I look at the way some of these houses have been painted by people and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I know it sounds a little Pollyanna
No.
to say it out
Shouldn't
loud.
be.
No,
That's
it does
incredible.
not at all. It's like warming my broken little heart. Like, no,
Yeah.
thank you. Like, thank you. I've had a similar experience where, yeah,
Yeah.
where it's just like that kind of appreciation for the kind of work that goes into anything
Yeah.
that I have like gotten involved in or helped with or whatever since this time that is kind of out of my comfort zone. The same thing, just like
What's
I
it
have
been
no.
like?
I'm sorry if I ever like was rude to you, and I didn't, you know, in a reply to an email, even those kinds of things, like where I didn't realize the kind of work that went into what you were doing, and I didn't mean to be so
Dismissive
or
whatever,
dismissive, and
yeah.
like yeah, and it's so stupid. Like I
Or
didn't
we just
see
not
you.
returning the email. Oh, I did
Straight
last
up,
week. Something
I didn't
was like-
see
Yeah.
you. Like that's like a big lesson. I'm like
It's a
I
big
don't
lesson.
realize that I didn't see you, and I see a lot more than I did before. You know.
And no, I
I
know
think
a
we
lot of
all
people
are.
are dealing with like parenting in a way that they
Oh,
never had
yeah.
a parent before. But what I hope they
Teachers.
learn out of that is what have our teachers done for us?
Oh
We've
my
been
God.
warehousing these kids in schools with teachers and never appreciating the teachers. You know, that goes on. I mean, that's an old story, but I think people now, having had their kids at home for all this amount of time, having to deal with them every hour of the day.
They should be apologizing to their teachers every day.
Exactly.
I'm so sorry. I had no idea what an asshole
Let me
teacher
buy
was.
the school supplies for your class because we're so grateful now. I hope that kind of lesson is what happens from now on, right?
And then there's me knowing like what kind of child that Mike and I could create. I've already started thinking into the future of like I will be sending a case of wine to
Yes, exactly.
This is for my mom.
Thank you so much for taking
Is
care
that
of my
Francia?
child.
Oh, she gets me.
But I think that's been kind of eye-opening for us. This idea of like what people are putting into things, and like the patrons come up here and they see the opera and they see what's going on the stage and what's happening down in the pit, of course, and they hear that. But then it's like when we're on the last performance of the year, when everybody from administrative staff in Denver to the backstage crew to everybody comes out on stage, and we sing the Old Lang Syne, and I still get choked up thinking about that. But to think all the people that are involved, well, we've gotten to get to know that very intimately by being in some of these empty spaces, going, wow, all the people that are living that normally live here who aren't here now. And we're taking, we're trying to maintain, trying to take care of these, but make them a little bit nicer for them. Taking care of the plants, having access to places so we can go in and fix up things. I mean, I've really seen this is a big deal. Everything that goes on up here. But the realization is very clear because it's not going on this year. And so
have there been moments where you get up in the morning and you walk out, or you sort of come out of you've been concentrating or something, you sort of look up and expect to see a bunch of young artists or principal artists or everybody around, and all of a sudden it's just quiet, except for the occasional.
Well, and since we live across from the rehearsal center,
there's no
from the foundry, that was very acute when we first came up here. Yeah. Like when I first got here, I'm like, wow, and the casinos weren't operating at that point either. So the only traffic in the street.
They are now, but they weren't.
Yeah, and at that time they weren't. So no restaurants, no casinos, and no opera. And so the only traffic on the street was the city maintenance people, who we've gotten to know very well this summer.
And you appreciate them too.
Yeah,
like,
and they stop and say hi to our dogs and give our dogs treats, and
Well, is that something that's happened a lot up here since that you don't have your normal social groups and things? Like, have you found yourself venturing out and getting to know this community a little better?
Yeah.
Just because you're not surrounded by a bunch of like-minded people.
Right.
That's right.
Well, and community people that have been coming to the concerts, out on the patio, and so we're, we hang out with them. Even if like last night performing, we would go down in between all the sets and talk with the townspeople and hang out, and and not to be like schmoozy and nice of like, we're gonna come and talk to you now, but just like, hey, it's like
we've been here for years.
I've been here since
we actually have time.
Yeah, I've been coming to Central City since '94, and it's nice to get to know some of you now. Because normally we're just like go.
Yeah, but that's not going to change next year. Like, that's going to make next year different. Like, everything that's happening here right now, it's a big pause on like the big thing. But like the work that's happening right now and the love that is being poured into the place and the connections you're making in the community and the time you're taking, like it's going to be a different company when you come back next year.
Yeah.
It's going to be different for the
different
people.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's really beautiful, and I feel that's kind of happening around a lot right now.
Yeah.
Just being here, like I've been since the concert was over, just walking around.
Yeah.
It feels like it's resting.
Right.
Like it's resting.
Right.
It's resting.
Right.
And it's like you'd rest a field when you've been planting. Maybe you plant a nitrogen crop on you, but you gotta let it sit, or you're gonna wear it out.
Right.
And I think that's true for this place. I think it's true for us as individuals.
It's true for the planet.
It's true for the
So
planet.
many cities are cleaner than they have
Right.
ever been.
Yeah.
Oh my God, those
Right.
pictures.
Like New Delhi and all these
Oh my God,
Venice,
so
places.
canals
cool to
in
see the
Venice.
befores and afters,
Yeah.
like limiting the air traffic.
Yeah.
Shoot, we all contribute to the air traffic issue.
But do you guys think that there'll be a lot? Speaking of air traveling running around all the time. Do you think there'll be a lot more focus on local activity for classical music organizations? Or are we
I hope
right back
so.
to the really?
I can't. I don't know. It's so easy to imagine that once this is over, two possibilities. One, we've created a new normal, which we hear that being bantered about, the term or that phrase, a new normal. I hope we've really created that in terms of pace, in terms of like getting to appreciate the world around us and the people around us.
Yeah.
And some people are like, well, when we get back to normal, it's just going to be like it was a year ago, and it's not. It's not. It can't be. It can't be.
I hope it's not.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. Yeah.
Why did we go through this then?
Right?
Yeah.
I
Well,
feel
that's
like
how
when we
I-
come back, the stakes are going to be like extra high.
Yeah. And I mean,
Well, and
I
that,
hope opera's different. Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone's like, oh, it's gonna be different. Like, there's a lot of people who are like, oh, it's gonna be.
Oh no, it's going to
But
be
like,
different.
no,
I'm
like, I
"Damn."
hope it's different. Oh my God, look at what we've all just been through. Like,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
should be different.
right.
And like,
Well, here
I
in Central
just,
City,
you know,
since we postponed, this season until next season.
yeah,
Next season won't run as it would have this season. We're going to be different people. This is going to be a different town. The company will have gone through, changes for the better.
Yeah.
And so,
there may be different ordinances like in place so
Right.
that you may not be able to use the opera house in the same way that it has been traditionally
Right.
used. And like, cool.
yeah.
Like, throw that
When we were
MacGuffin
down
in
there in
there.
the courthoard, I was like, look at all these big ones.
Right, yeah.
We can make this work. My brain was already firing off, but if I had my druthers during like the last part of the concert, we could then kind of like the last number open up all the windows and have different players and everything.
Yeah.
Big ensemble.
Yeah.
Oh, people would have been
To be like laughing.
Oh my God.
I sort of felt like this is our generation. Well, I'm a different generation, but it's our generation's war. Like, you hear people say about. I remember people saying about John Moretti. Well, he was a child of the Depression and he lived through the war, and that's why he behaves in certain ways. Like he saved twist ties and things like that.
Yeah.
Because once you've gone through something like that, you're altered and you can't ever forget it.
Yeah.
And I think this is the event in our time that we're never going to be able to forget, and that we will be altered, that we are altered by, and will be altered by. Do you agree with that?
Oh,
Dude,
yeah.
yeah.
Duh.
We were talking. I was talking to somebody the other day about Euro trash, quote unquote. And after I went to Europe and saw what people were calling Euro trash, I was like, I actually like a lot of this stuff. Some of it is a little ridiculous, but I like a lot of it. And it's a different approach. And you know why it looks so much different than American opera does? And why American opera looks like a Renaissance fair at the time? It's because we didn't have war on our land. We
That's right.
they were
Right.
through 2 world wars on their own native soil. When you are performing opera on blood-soaked soil, that is a different
Yep.
kind of opera than what we're producing over here. Now, with 150,000 people gone, less than a year, and probably going out of that, we have our moment now of incredible American trauma.
Yes.
And I believe that it will that I'm not saying yay for trauma, but I think it will produce a new kind of American opera that reflects that kind of sensibility. I think it must. It absolutely
It has to,
must.
yeah.
Well, I mean, one of the things I was very inspired by actually was seeing that. Is it Boris? It was Boris
Yeah.
in Stuttgart, where they
Everything.
mixed together. I don't even remember what it was they mixed it with.
Some
But they
other-
mixed Boris Goodenough with something that was like I had never heard before, and it was like
It's
totally
Boop Squeak
like
opera.
yeah, it was like an acid trip like between scenes.
Boop squeak.
No, but I was like, I walked away from that, and like, I thought about that for months. And like, there were still things I'm like, I'm not sure what that meant, but I was like riveted.
It was the kitchen sink, man. It had everything.
No, but they,
Huge projections, and all of a sudden, and then Boris would be going along, and the brakes would come on. Literally, everybody would just go brrr.
yeah, and it would like stop
And then
time, and it would
would
be like
be
a
a different
merry-go-round, and like
Huh.
this strange, like, whatever. But
Yeah.
I just that after I saw that, I was like, I will no longer apologize for mixing Connais-tu le pays and pure imagination together as some kind of song or encore offering. Like, that is so vanilla compared to what I just saw, and like that gave me so much freedom to just be like, music is music, theater is theater. It doesn't matter as long as we're putting together something that is going to make somebody like think or feel something, or even just walk away like, what the hell did I just see? But wow,
Ask a question.
you know, and ask a question.
And you don't have to like
So-
it. We don't need you to like it.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, guys.
oh, you have to
know
go?
what? I have to call this a wrap.
Oh.
So, but it's
What,
been,
you're gonna do a
it's
rap?
been really fun.
This is
yeah.
crazy.
No, it's
Yo,
been
yo.
really fun catching up and talking about, where we are right now. I don't know, where are we? But I know where we are right here.
I think you hit it on the head. We have our own trauma now.
Yeah.
And because of that, we will have to express differently from now on.
And we have to start expressing.
Yeah.
We have to find ways. I mean, that's why. We know the digital revolution is coming in opera. It's going to come. It doesn't mean that's going to be the future of opera. It's going to be part of the future.
Yeah.
But if we don't give these people, if you don't give them a way to express themselves, we're going to start seeing more suicides among our artists. We're going to see much more devastation in their personal lives. And I think, I'm not one to say let's go screaming back into the theater at all. But we have to get busy figuring out a way to let our people express themselves, because if we don't, it's going to kill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to kill.
It'll
But
kill us
also,
all.
it's like audience, society, humanity. I mean,
They need it too.
oh my God, like
Yeah.
there were moments today where I felt like they were so,
We're there.
that I would.
You have to stand up.
Okay, I'm going to stand up
Stand.
now.
Then go
All right.
Go,
Okay.
go, go.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Hey, all right.
Hey.
Thank you. Bye.